Today on Taking Over Tottenham, we have Manchester United in the Premier League. Can we get some revenge on them for earlier in the season? Then we also see if we've progressed in both the FA Cup after taking on Manchester United in that and in the Conference League against Eintracht Frankfurt in the second knockout round. And because it's March, we might also get our youth intake in this episode, so that could be coming up today on Taking Over Tottenham. Hello everyone and welcome back to episode number 10 of Taking Over Tottenham here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and if you're looking forward to this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and do enjoy the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. So today we are looking to get revenge on Manchester United. They did humiliate us a little bit earlier in the season in the Premier League, absolutely did us aerially. We weren't expecting that, and that is what did us in that game. We are definitely going to try and change our tactics going into today's outing, our home game in the Premier League. But we do have some highlights to catch you guys up on since the end of yesterday's episode, the Carabao Cup final. If you missed it, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner. Recommend you guys check that one out. But we have played Manchester United before today's game in the month of March, and it was at Old Trafford in the FA Cup 5th round. We did need to win this tie if we were going to achieve the board's objectives of making the quarterfinals. Unfortunately though, we got off to a pretty poor start. Took United a little while to get going, just shy of the half-hour mark. Mason Greenwood in there for Jadon Sancho, and he puts that away in the bottom left corner to make it 1-0, but not too long off the back of that, we did equalise. Bergwijn with a block cross. Harry Winks tidies that up quite nicely, and Højbjerg tucks that away in the bottom right corner to make it 1-0 at half-time. It stayed pretty even for a while after that, but then with 8 minutes to go, Raphael Varane at the far post gives United the win, and we do go out of the FA Cup in the 5th round, crashing back down to earth after yesterday's episode with that 2-1 loss to United. So not achieving the board's objectives there, but I think the EFL Cup win certainly helped us there, and also the fact that we did have a tough draw against United, so the board aren't too disappointed with us there, even though we did fail our objective in the FA Cup. But we got our chance to bounce back from that FA Cup defeat at home in the Premier League against Wolves. Straight off the back of that, took us a little while to get going in this game. It was still 0-0 at half-time, but 10 minutes into the second half, Bryan Gill was making his way forward, loses the ball there to Cody, but it falls to Skip, plays that over for Harry Kane and tucks that away to give us a 1-0 lead at the 56-minute mark. And then with 10 minutes to go, we were awarded a penalty, and Harry Kane sends Jose Sarr the wrong way, and we pick up a fairly comfortable 2-0 win in the end. You look at the game stats-wise, it was actually quite even, but we had a few more shots on target, made the most of them, and pick up another 3 points in the Premier League. And coming into today's game, we had the first leg of the second knockout round in the Conference League away at Eintracht Frankfurt. Got off to a decent start in this game. At the 18-minute mark, we had a corner. Son Poulin and Christian Romero gave us a 1-0 lead, an away goal nice and early. Unfortunately, about 20 minutes later, Ndicka to Hinteregger, and they made it 1-1 at that stage, and that was the score at half-time. And then Eintracht Frankfurt, with 20 minutes to go, got their noses in front here with a header to Horger from the far side to make it 2-1 with 20 minutes to go. But luckily for us, we did bring Belotti on at half-time for a struggling Harry Kane. Missed a few good chances early in the second half, but he got that one in with 11 minutes to go off the Bergwijn cross, and off the back of that, he kicked right into gear. Lo Celso back for Højbjerg, sees the run of Belotti, and he puts this away, and we end up winning the first leg away from home 3-2. That Belotti substitution at halftime proving very important, as Harry Kane, as you can see there, was struggling quite a bit. Belotti coming off the bench, getting 2 goals and an 8.6 rating, and helping us come from behind to take a 3-2 lead into the home league, which we'll show you guys highlights of off the back of this upcoming Manchester United game. So what that means for the Premier League, obviously, we're out of all the other cup competitions at the moment apart from the Conference League now. So those are the two competitions we've got left for the rest of this season. And going into this game, you can see there, already qualified for the Conference League next season, thanks to our win in yesterday's episode. But if we could just get a point in this game, we would still be in a great position to be finishing inside the top 4 this season. 9 points clear of Arsenal with 2 games in hand on them. But ideally, if we can win this game, we will start to put a really big gap on them with a game in hand, and maybe start to close the gap just a little bit on Manchester City, albeit the day before this game, they came out and defeated Liverpool 2-0. So it's starting to get a little bit condensed now at the top. The gaps are closing. Manchester United, if they do beat us in this game, will go top of the table. We'll be looking to keep touch with Manchester City and the rest, trying to give ourselves an ever so slight chance of moving up the table even more during the remainder of the season. But because we did play that Conference League first leg tie only a few days before this game against Manchester United, we are going to use a pretty heavy rotation in this game. We'll see if it pays off. We're also going to go off low crosses for this game, as well as United did do quite well in the air when we played them earlier this season. They are a strong headed team, so we'll change our tactics ever so slightly going into this one and see what result we can get. We'll come back shortly from the Spurs Stadium with the team sheets and try and get some revenge against Manchester United. And here are the team sheets for this Premier League game. As you can see, we have rotated quite a bit. Joe Rodon is back from his injury. Davinson Sanchez partners him in defence. Davies is in for Lottie just because of tiredness. Also tiredness-wise, Ali and Winks in the midfield for Højbjerg and Lo Celso. And we've got Belotti up top, which, to be fair, might be on form at the moment as well after the performance he put in coming on for Harry Kane in that Conference League first leg. So we've made quite a few changes. In terms of United, they look pretty similar to how they line up in real life, except they've actually given Donny van de Beek a start. So that's rare, but we'll see how they get on here. Hopefully we can get some revenge against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men. And an early highlight in this game as the rain starts to fall here in London, and United look to play out from the back from that goal kick. Luke Shaw holding the ball up, gets around Jesus Corona there, but he retreats and gets the ball back nicely for us. Does Tito, makes his way to Winks. Son as we pass it about just outside the box. Winks. Davies puts a nice ball up for Belotti, puts it in the back of the net, but was he offside? I think he might have been. We'll just wait for the VAR to make sure. It's a good, promising start for us nonetheless, but I do believe this goal is going to get ruled out for offside, and indeed it will. Good early chance creation there for us, but I think Belotti is well offside, and you can see here he is a mile offside, so it remains 0-0 after 4 minutes. 13 minutes gone, and we are down the other end for a goal kick this time, and this time it is us who look to play out from the back after putting the ball in the net through Belotti, but as you saw, he was well offside, so we'll have to try and do it again a bit more legally this time, but we're holding the ball quite nicely here with this somewhat rotated team, it's fair to say, just trying to keep some of our best players fresh for the Conference League, as I would like to win that competition this year. It's a good chance for us to try and get a double in this first season of taking over Tottenham, as Son holds the ball up quite nicely there. Davies to Winks, back to Son. We are holding the ball quite nicely in today's game. Nice ball there for Belotti. This time he's onside. Dele Alli with the assist, and after 15 minutes it is 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur in this clash against Manchester United. And hopefully, after they've done us the last few times in the Premier League and the FA Cup, we can get some revenge on them. And we've started things off quite nicely there. Nice ball for Ali. Belotti in a purple patch of form. And it is 1-0 Tottenham after 15 minutes. And shortly off the back of that Belotti goal to open the scoring, we have a throw-in, albeit Winks passes that back to Lloris, but we'll look to get going again to try and make it 2-0 nice and early. Some good short passing again here. Tito up for Belotti. 1-on-1, puts it wide. Great chance. It should be 2-0, but still 1-0. And a highlight shortly off the back of that very good chance to Belotti, which he missed. Hopefully he'll get another one soon, because we have started this game off very strongly as we pass the ball quite nicely inside the opposition half. Yet again, Sanchez just holds the ball there to Winks. Back to Sanchez, and hopefully we can start going forward sooner rather than later, and that's going to be through Joe Rodon. Nice run from the centre-back over for Dele Alli, and he will beat the United goalkeeper at his near post. And at the 20-minute mark, we've created some really good chances, haven't taken them all, and it is still 2-0 to Tottenham, so we have got off to an absolute flyer in this game. It might be time for us to finally beat the Red Devils. Really nice work from Joe Rodon. Good to have him back. He has been our best centre-back this year. Nice assist for Dele Alli this time after being the provider first time around. He is the goal scorer. He beats De Gea, and it's 2-0 Tottenham. And that is half-time in this Premier League game. Very happy with how that went, especially in the first part of the first half. Nothing much happening there in the second half of that half, but we take a 2-0 lead into half-time and can be very happy with our work. I'm going to make one change at half-time. We're going to take Heung-min Son off for Brian Gill, only on a 6.6 rating, down to a yellow heart, and we do have the second leg of that Conference League knockout to consider against Eintracht Frankfurt. So we'll give Gill a run in the second half, but very happy with how things are going. We'll take a 2-0 lead into the second half here against Manchester United. 58 minutes gone here, no highlights so far in the second half, but Jesus Colonna down to a red heart. Steven Bergwijn can come on for him. And time for our last substitution. Still no highlights here in the second half. Tanguy and Ndombele down to a red heart in the defensive midfield role, so Oliver Skip can come on for him. And straight off the back of that substitution, bringing Skip on for Ndombele. We do have a throw, a little bit messy, but we do secure the ball through Brian Gill. Slide tackle, gets it back to Belotti. Very messy, but we are still holding the ball. Bergwijn down the right-hand side. What can he do? Puts the ball in for Belotti. Somehow gets that past David De Gea. And at the 70-minute mark, Belotti keeps up his good little run of form. And it is 3-0 Tottenham in this game, despite us using quite a few players you wouldn't call our first choice. So this is going exceedingly well with that Conference League knockout in mind. Belotti somehow gets that past both the defender and De Gea. And with 20 minutes to go, we lead 3-0. 82 minutes gone here. United looking to play out in defence, but it's a poor clearance and it gives the ball straight to Skip. And we now look to consolidate possession, but this is going very well. Should be another 3 points in the Premier League for us here. And that's really going to condense that top four and put a big gap on Arsenal in fifth as well. So this is going to be a really good result for us. And it does mean that Liverpool will keep the lead on the Premier League. But we do just close that gap on the rest of the teams. And that's Winks up to Belotti. Is he onside? Because I think Belotti might just have got himself a hat-trick. 2 goals in the second half against Eintracht Frankfurt. 2 goals so far today. And indeed he is onside. He gets a hat-trick against Manchester United. It's so good to have that 1-2 punch now with Kane and Belotti. If one of them doesn't perform, you can usually rely on the other to do so. Nice pass from Winks, who has picked up a little bit of a knock, but he slots through Belotti for his hat-trick. And with only 7 minutes to go, it is all over Red Rover. 4-0 Tottenham. And that is full time in this Premier League game. We finally defeat Manchester United 4-0 as well. Stats-wise, pretty even game. Another one where we have more shots on target than the opposition. And we're given some pretty nice chances there as well. So a very good win. 4-0, especially with some of those rotation players as well. Paid off using them over the first team players. Hopefully those guys can perform midweek over Eintracht Frankfurt, and we'll see what that does to the Premier League table before we get into that game. And we are now only 6 points behind Manchester City and 12 points clear of Arsenal. But we'll come back shortly, show you guys what happened in the second leg of the Conference League tie against Eintracht Frankfurt. Okay, we are back, not quite having played the Eintracht Frankfurt game yet, and that is because we have had our youth intake. We saw what the preview looked like earlier this season. Apparently it was only going to be a below average intake, but it turns out it's been graded as a 4-star good intake. So that is quite nice. Things looking a little bit different to how they have in previous years. It was the same with the preview as well. As you can see, they've got elite talents now, top talents, good talents, and then players who are only decent and not really worth persisting with if you're a team like Tottenham in the Premier League. But we'll show you guys a pick of these players. We're probably not going to use them too much in this save. We'll be relying on some real world players. But the pick of this year's youth intake for us is Kieran Murphy, a 16-year-old striker. His finishing isn't great, could definitely work on that, but has very good potential. 1.5-star current ability as well. He is the pick of this youth intake for us here at Tottenham. And we've got a few top talents who are also worth pointing out. Rio Asan is the first of those, a midfielder, 1-star current ability, about that 4-star potential, has a few green stats, teamwork and work rate, so he should end up being a pretty good midfielder for us. And the other player who if we were going to do a long-term save here at Tottenham, who would be worth keeping an eye out on is Hugo Reid, 3.5-star potential. He is a midfielder, but I think he's actually more of a striker. He looks a lot more comfortable there. So we've got 2 decent strikers, 1 decent midfielders, and we've got a few more players who we might potentially sign depending on how they get on in the youth intake game against the under 18s. But that is what the youth intakes look like this year. Decent youth intake considering that we weren't really expecting too much from this one. And time to bring you guys highlights of the second leg of our Conference League second round knockout tie against Eintracht Frankfurt. The score going into this one was 3-2 in our favour, and luckily we extended the lead after a quarter of an hour. Renan Lodi making his way down the left. We were able to put out a pretty strong team in this game after resting those players in the United game, and it was Heung-min Son who opened the scoring for us there to make it 4-2 on aggregate, and then 20 minutes later we made it 5-2, and it was Son again. Nice ball there from Jesus Colonna, and it was 5-2 to Tottenham. And then just after the start of the second half we made it 6-2, really put this tie beyond doubt with Højbjerg slotting Harry Kane through there, and it looked like we'd be making our way through to the next round of the Conference League. They did get a goal back there. Lammers just able to tuck that away before it could hit one of our defenders, so they make it 3-1 on the day, but we go through 6-3 on aggregate. You can see there they picked up a very late red card to Jakic after he picked up a second yellow, but it was a better performance than it was in the away leg, as you would expect, and in the end, fairly comfortable win for us over 2 legs, 6-3 against Eintracht Frankfurt. And what that means for the next round of the Conference League, it isn't too far away. In the quarterfinals, we do have Real Sociedad, so that's going to be a pretty tough test for us. That one could be the toughest one we get before we enter the final, should we. I think what's going to be happening after that, just having a quick look at the other ties. If we get past Real Sociedad, we will be taking on one of Slavia Prague, Stade Rennais, or Feyenoord, and then more than likely it would be one of West Ham or Roma in the final. Roma's probably the team who we're a little bit more afraid of than West Ham, because we've already played West Ham over 2 legs in an EFL Cup semi-final and dealt with them pretty comprehensively. So I'll be expecting to face Roma, but if we made our way to a final and got West Ham or someone else who isn't Roma, that would be quite a nice surprise. But that is our path to the final in the Conference League. Next up, it is Real Sociedad. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Good wins against Manchester United in the Premier League and also against Eintracht Frankfurt over the 2 legs in that Conference League second round tie. In terms of when we're going to be coming back for the next episode, I think we're going to come back right at the end of April. We might have even played our Conference League semi-final by that stage, but I think we'll come back for the Chelsea game, and then we'll wrap up the season, the episode after that, playing either Arsenal if we don't make the Conference League final, or we will play that Conference League final and try and get our second bit of silverware for the season here, as I think we're pretty well secured inside the top 4 of the Premier League now, but are unlikely to be making a title push. If we have another look at the table, there's a bit of a gap in between us and the teams either side at the moment, so we're looking pretty safe in that 4th spot. Might be able to sneak up another spot, but I don't think we're going to be able to make up a 9-point gap on the likes of Liverpool in the last 10 games of the season. But we should definitely be having some Champions League football to look forward to next season. So that's going to do it for today's episode. As I said, if you did enjoy that win over Manchester United, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and do enjoy the content here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow, when we'll come back for Chelsea, another London derby, hopefully we can beat these guys this time. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.